Good morning, everyone. And just wanted to start first by acknowledging and thanking my teachers, Jane and Peter Schneider, and also by saying that this talk is just to encourage you in your practice. Um, oh, hold on one second. Okay. So I also wanted to give some additional acknowledgement and thanks to Greg Fain, who was my teacher for a number of years and who said that I could start my talks using the same intro he does. So thanks to him for that. It's nice. So I am calling this talk The Most Precious Jewel. It's about Sangha. And it's my feeling that of the three jewels of Buddhism, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, Sangha is the most precious. So here we have a slight problem, though, because of my use of comparing mind, and especially my use of a superlative. So here's my disclaimer. The use of comparing mind here is only for purposes of illustrating a feeling and should not be taken literally. In actuality, none of the jewels or any other teaching or aspect of Buddhism can be said to be any more important than any other. And really, I'm not even saying Sangha is more important, just more precious. But even so, conclusions drawn from the use of discriminating thinking should be held with some degree of skepticism, and attachments to those conclusions are highly discouraged. Assembly discretion is advised. On with the talk. So, Buddha is the teacher. Dharma is the teaching. What is Sangha? Sangha is all of our fellow students. This can be interpreted very, very broadly to include every being in the universe. It can also refer to our specific group. It can refer just to the concept of community. There's some leeway, and context can affect the interpretation. So I'm sort of more focused on, well, our center, but just a community that we may belong to and how that can be. But anyways, the Buddha, by which I mean Siddhartha Gautama, died over 2,500 years ago, which is not to say Buddha is only that old or young, because in one sense, Buddha is eternal, was never born, and will never die. The Dharma, or way, or law sometimes, is, in my view, as immutable, as much a part of the fabric of existence as Newtonian physics or math. The Buddha just awoke to it and taught what he awoke to, and it is what we can awake to as well. So in one sense, Sangha can be seen as eternal and immutable as well. The fellowship of all beings exists, whether we participate in it or not. But outside of theory, in the world and our lives as we live them, Sangha is expressed as other people with whom we form connections, and the community which is formed by those connections. Sangha is our support group as we struggle with our own unique karma and wake up. It's true that there is a lot of solitary retreat in various Buddhist practices, including Zen, but that is contained before and after by community in some way, shape, or form. No one can walk our path for us, but we can and do help one another immensely in walking the path for ourselves. Sometimes this is appreciated in the phrase, all alone together. So what makes Sangha precious? Merriam-Webster's definition of precious includes of great value or high price and highly esteemed or cherished. I think it's fair to say, in one sense, that we don't pay any price for Buddha or Dharma. They are free. To maintain Sangha, though, takes work. It means showing up and negotiating. It takes some effort, in a way, all its own. So in that sense, we pay a price for Sangha. And it is so worth cherishing because it can be lost in a way that Buddha and Dharma cannot. Sangha is like family in a way because we cannot pick and choose our fellow Sangha members, at least not like we choose the friends we spend time with. We absolutely cannot choose the people life will bring us into contact with. Yes, you can choose what Zen Center or wherever to go to, but when you get to that Zen Center, you can't choose who else is going to show up. Zen is like life in that way. Whatever community we end up in, difficulties will crop up like would happen in any community. The original community of Buddhist monks developed the Vinaya one difficulty at a time. For those who didn't already know, the Vinaya refers to the list of some 200 rules that Theravadan monks take as their precepts. Mahayana schools kind of narrowed it down to about 16. And some of them are kind of funny, but that's neither here nor there. As the community of Buddhist monks, the original Buddhist monks grew and difficulties arose. If something came up, they would come to Buddha with their problem, and Buddha would make a rule about it, and then they would work together. And so the negotiating, the problem solving, the conflict resolution, all of that is the kind of work that I'm talking about in respect to building the community, building the Sangha, and maintaining the Sangha. So that's what I'm talking about when I say we have to maintain Sangha in a way that we don't when it comes to Buddha and Dharma. Again, it's not to say that it doesn't take their own kind of effort to develop, just the effort to wake up as Buddha ourselves, the effort to understand and to appreciate and wake up to Dharma is 100% supported by the Sangha. So, I was at Tassajara for a couple weeks recently for work period, and while I was there, I think I might have passed a koan. Basically, I was in practice discussion with a teacher, and he asked me, what's the most important thing in life? Something like that. So, in my mind, intellectually, what came up was, I think he wants to hear our relationships with other people. Now, I believe that if I'd given that right then and there as my answer, I would have failed. But in the next moment, what came up from deep, deep in my heart was a recognition of the truth of the answer, our relationships with other people. And so that's the answer I gave. And the teacher said, exactly, yes. So, the immeasurable vows are sometimes expressed as follows. Beings are numberless, I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to pass through them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, I vow to become it. So it may be impossible to achieve these goals even with Sangha, but without Sangha, we don't even stand a chance. Sometimes it occurs to me that we can't do these on our own, but if we team up with one another, I'll save a being and then you save a being and then et cetera, and so on. And, maybe we can actually save all beings as long as we work together. And we need that support, I think. Well, maybe I should really just say, I need the support of my fellow practitioners to keep coming to the cushion, to keep showing up, to keep facing the wall, and to keep struggling to wake up. I can't do it without help. And it's a great source of joy to support other people in that same struggle. So building those relationships helps to clarify and make it obvious why exactly they're so important. So that's the talk. Um, I apologize for not spending more time trying to write out some of what I've been thinking. I've been thinking about this a lot over the years, and yeah, my normal habit of just waiting till the last minute and then just like focusing intensely on writing, and then suddenly a talk happens. Yeah, I turns out it didn't work so well this time around. So um, my hope, I guess, is that Q&A time will make for an interesting conversation, and I think that's kind of appropriate since you all, the Sangha, are part of what's so important. So let it come forth to cover heaven and earth. Thanks, Joel. All right, first up, Joel.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I think maybe you should wait to the day before. I mean, this was a beautiful talk. Um, Very beautiful. Uh, Roshi once told me that Sangha is the most important of the three treasures. And I interpret that partly to mean that it's the hardest. And Once your teacher, Greg, in a talk in Tassajara, compared all of us to sea glass. And sea glass is like glass pieces that are in the ocean that were broken off from some glass object. And they're very sharp and they can be dangerous, like broken glass is. And then they wash up on shore and for years and decades and centuries get worn down by the surf. And then they become very, very beautiful and we treasure them. And he compared all of us to the sea glass. We all come from lots of ancient twisted karma.
Mm.
And so we all have a lot of rough edges. And in a Sangha, we sooner or later butt up against each other's rough edges. And that can hurt a lot. And we struggle with that and practice with that. And we struggle and practice with our Dharma friends who, through ignorance, wound up inflicting that
Mm.
on us. I mean, it wasn't more and more. I'm realizing that much more suffering in the world is caused by ignorance than by greed or hate. Just stupidly. It's not even stupid. I mean, it's just we're ignorant and we're self-preoccupied and we don't know the karma of anyone outside of us whom we're interacting with, ultimately, even people we've known for a long time. And so naturally, we run up against each other's hard edges. And, teachers always say, when you go through hard things, that's the most valuable practice, and I hate it. The problem is that it's true. Uh, anyway, thank you so much for your talk. It was really wonderful.
Thank you for your added comments and clarification. Um, I think Suzuki Roshi always used the image of washing potatoes. How there's a bunch of potatoes sort of washing and kind of like bumping into one another, and how the bumping into each other helps to clean away the dirt of the
Mhm.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think anyone ever promised me or even hinted that this process of awakening, that this path was going to be free of pain. Um, yeah, no, no one ever said that. It's so hard to say something like, pain is part of the process, or pain can be uh, a touchstone for spiritual growth, even though it can be. But it's hard to say that because then it sounds like I'm saying, "Yay, good, I'm glad that you're having pain," which is absurd. Um, a lot of the pain I feel, whether it's in Sangha and at a specific Zen center or just in general, or out in the world, comes from other people, or it seems like that anyway. And here also, it is necessary to speak very delicately. Um, if I am going to walk this path, it requires that I look inward anytime some pain comes up. It's not the only component, but I can't practice for other people. If I want to do some practice, I have to look at the components of my experience that are coming up on my end. So, my response to something is generated in part by all my ancient twisted karma, and by habits of mind that are born from that, and my ability to cultivate equanimity, or any of the other, excellent qualities of a bodhisattva, um, is enabled by my ability to practice looking at my karma and my responses, my learned responses, my habitual responses, and for better or worse, or even without judging the quality or the value, a lot of those responses happen as a result of interactions with people. And a lot of those interactions can be painful. So Leslie James, who's been the senior abiding teacher at Tassajara for many years, she always says Tassajara is just safe enough. So just safe enough to study our karma in the context of studying Zen with other people. One of my absolute dearest friends, um, she and I often at Tassajara would just snap at each other, and something would be going on, and then that would be like a "Meh," and then that would get a "Meh" back, and then we'd kind of "Meh, meh, meh." But then we'd spend some time apart, settle down, then we'd come back together, and we'd say sorry, we'd make up, and each time that happened, I think we smoothed out each other a little bit. And that was made possible because we were committed to being Sangha members together. So it's very personal to me, just because of how immediately I can see the Dharma play itself out. And then everything I've learned from interactions like that or any similar type phenomena, um, it goes more to the point, more goes more directly, I think, to the human experience or the situation, things as it is. Um, it's like as far from esoteric as you can get, I think. So that was some of what was coming up in response to what you shared, Joel. So thank you. Um, Mike also has his hand up. So Mike, I'll pass the mic to you, metaphorically speaking.
That was bad. No, no, I liked your talk. I because I have not had any experience with other Buddhists outside of beginner's mind, I was wondering if with your talk, part of your Sangha, would it include the people you encounter on the streets and you talk to and
Mm,
things? Because I had a situation come up that completely surprised me out of the blue from a total stranger. And it was one of the most heart-opening experiences I ever had, where a guy was in a wheelchair, rolled up to me, I was sitting outside the market waiting for my bus ride home, reading a big fat thriller book that I was reading. He goes, "Is that a Bible?" I said, "No, I'm just, reading a book here." And he just looked right at me. He goes, "I just lost my wife 3 months ago." And we started talking about what it was like to lose our spouses. And I told him what I went through, what he went through and stuff. And he goes, "People don't understand and stuff." And we had the most intense conversation with this guy. And then he goes, "Thank you." And he rolled off. And I've never seen him again.
mm.
And I'm wondering if what your talk is, can we include those strangers that we encounter in life who, for some whatever reason, kind of spark what my practice is? Are they considered part of a Sangha in a way?
So, uh, if I was to sum up my response, it would be something like, well, not really, but actually, yes, definitely.
That's Zen. Yes and no.
So, when I was conceiving of this talk and giving this talk, and in general, when I think of the concept of Sangha, I am speaking specifically to the Buddhist idea of Sangha as expressed by other Zen students or other Buddhists, etc. So that's what I wanted to speak to. And as I said, the concept of sangha or the word sangha, depending on the context, can mean something like Beginner's Mind Zen Center. I refer to Beginner's Mind Zen Center as my home sangha or my root sangha. So there's that, and then there's also just in general, a sangha, the community of Buddhist students or etc. But then also the concept of Sangha more, not really abstractly, well, sort of abstractly, can, what does include all beings, um, but more to the point, more to the yes, definitely part of the short answer is since Sangha is our relationships with other people, um, and since it kind of is only a little bit relevant and then only sometimes to distinguish between our relationships as, fellow Buddhist students versus any relationship, then yeah, 100%. He's a fellow being. This guy on the bus or wherever it was is a fellow being, and that interaction yielded something touching for him, and then also you. It sounds like, and in that sense, discriminating between a Buddhist temple where people are living in community and just being in the world as a human being with other human beings. It's a what is the term? It's a distinction without a difference, because ultimately the part that matters is common to both those things. So
Thank you.
this, yeah, yeah. Hold on one second. Let me. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
There's a few different concepts that I really like that you touched on. I'll start with what I was thinking about, which is there's a philosopher who has a really great play about the interplay of different people, and his ending piece of it is very pessimistic, and it's not what I'm trying to take away here. But he says that other people are hell, And that reminded me of what you guys were talking about with Sangha and the scraping of each other's rough edges against one another. And I think that that's inherent to interaction, but there's also a phrase that I really like, which is um, the phrase goes, the pain of discomfort is worth so much more than the uh, it's the pain of growth is worth so much more than the comfort of familiarity. And I think
Mm,
that's in essence what happens when you're interacting with other people. They are inherently unfamiliar, unpredictable. And when you give all of yourself in the way that Mike seemed like he did with that conversation with the stranger, you give all of yourself to a conversation, to being present with another person. For an ephemeral moment, you lose that distinction of self and you both become an experience of the world. And I think in some way, Sangha is the building of that. It's the foundation of which we exist with each other, and it's messy and it's also really beautiful. So I really like this talk.
thank you very much. I've uh, I've always liked that quote from Sartre, "Hell is other people," um, because yeah, it definitely feels that way sometimes. And then I could explore like, well, really, the hell that I'm experiencing is just the product of my own mind, and yada 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 yada. But notwithstanding, um, your comment, and then hell is other people, and also heaven is other people. Um, there's a parable, I guess you could say, and I don't remember the setup, but the meat and potatoes is this person wanted to see hell, and so the being which is guiding him took him to this restaurant or this banquet hall or something where there's all this beautiful food on the table and it all smells amazing and it's organic and free range and it's just incredible. And so I've heard two versions. One is the people can't bend their elbows, but the other version I heard is they've just got very, very long chopsticks. And so everyone is trying to feed themselves, but with these super long chopsticks, they can only like drop food into their mouths from high up. Or, and they're just making a mess. They're barely getting to eat anything, and it's just misery. So then the narrator or whatever leaves that banquet hall and wants to see what heaven is like. So they walk across the street or to the next banquet hall where it's the exact same setup. There's a bunch of delicious food on the table. It's amazing. It's delicious. It's beautiful, etc., etc. And everyone's got super long chopsticks. And then they're feeding each other. So kind of cheesy, but it's very sweet. And yeah, why did I say it was cheesy? It's kind of cheesy, but it is very very sweet, I think, and it's a good parable for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called? So I'm the new Sangha member. I've been here for maybe.
Hang on one second. Could you try speaking louder?
Sure, we can do that. Hold on.
Oh,
We have the ability to.
it's like I'm going on a ride. Okay. Oh, you didn't have to get that
Yeah,
close.
you're like a disembodied head. There you go. All right, how is it? All right, okay. So I'm a new Sangha member. I've been here maybe just over a month, just under a month, something like that. And I've been, I guess, something like a solitary practitioner for a long time. So I've never really been part of a Sangha proper. I've had Dharma friends online and a lot of good talks with them, but um, as I've been coming to Zen mind and beginner mind, uh, I've found that I haven't come away with the impression that anyone's hellish or anything like that. Uh, but I found that which I drive about, on the weekdays, I drive anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour here. And on the weekends, it's nice and smooth in about 30 minutes, but I have plenty of time to reflect on my experience every time I come and go because of that. And I'm finding that the way in which I've studied and related to the Dharma by myself, truly solitary, is being transformed by me coming here. And not necessarily in distinct ways that I can say in words, right? It's not that sometimes people seem to understand things differently than I do, but for the most part, everyone's kind of on the same page. But it's more about, there's something subtle that I've been feeling where it's interesting to see how people relate to the Dharma and have integrated the insights, how they embodied it. It's in your character, it's in your personality. And that's been very, for lack of a better word, deflationary. I think there's something about solitary practice, even if you think you're very critical and you're very self-aware, that it puffs you up. I think it really does. And so just being in a Sangha is very grounding, and it's very, you can understand what the Dharma actually is when it's being practiced and embodied by so many different people around you. And that you're willingly participating in that sort of difference, even though there's still sameness. So that's all.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Spencer, could you put me back, please? All right, that's good. That's probably good.
Before Jane, I wanted to just address Jim, what he said,
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and I did. I just wanted to see everyone while I did so.
I just wanted to address Jim.
Oh, okay. Yeah, take it away.
I had some experience in this realm. And, I was never in the Sangha for a long time. And so that was never I knew. But I wasn't that involved with the Sangha. And I was very involved with myself and my practice. And I thought I was very accomplished. I had a relationship with Peter and Jane that whole time. But part of the Sangha, but it wasn't real. Reflecting back, I had a certain degree of, not, I definitely had a certain false sense of materialism toward my practice. I thought I had achieved something, I'm practicing at home, I had all this self-dialogue, having insight, it was all BS. Okay? Yeah. That's what we do. People, why do we do that? Because small mind stops us from practicing deeper at that point. We think we're good. We're not good. There's always more. There's always more emptiness beyond. So, thank you.
Thank you, Spencer.
And thank you both.
Okay. Hold on, hold on, Chris.
Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit to Jim. I thought your talk was interesting. I don't agree with people who say including the writer who said people are hell. I don't think so. I think we make our own hell always. Even if we were with nothing but angels, we would still have hell. And there was a time when Peter and I were up in Hoshinji in Japan, and Harada Roshi took us to a restaurant, which was beautiful. It had the whole setting with the table filled with food. And Peter looked at it and said to Harada Roshi, Tengogu, Tengogu. And that means heaven, heaven. And Harada Roshi looked at him for a minute, then he said, tomorrow, hell. And we had a good laugh about it, but he was right. We make both our own heaven and our own hell, and people are just the poor pieces in between that we lean on and cause hell. And another time I asked Radha Roshi, I feel terrible. I'm having an awful time. Why? And he said, that's because in the dark, you're always bumping into people, and that's causing suffering. He said, but if you can be patient, you'll become very skilled at it. It was like jumping off the 100-foot pole where nothing is clear anymore. It's all in the dark. We don't have teaching like usual. We have to develop the teacher in us. And so we're always bumping into people on furniture and everything because it's in a total dark situation. And it's really hard, but it's the way we learn the best. And and sitting with everybody is the best way to learn all this, because when you're sitting here with all of these people, you are taking on all of these people's understandings and learnings, because we all pass through each other when we're sitting together. So be kind to everybody, because even if you don't like somebody, they are probably helping you immensely during this wandering in the dark time. We have many spiritual friends during this time. And some of them look like devils. But the thing is to always remember the devil's only in our mind, and just respect and take care of everybody, even those that look like devils to us and seem to act like devils. So don't take that seriously. Just honor everybody, because you aren't honoring yourself, you're honoring a Buddha in that person every time you do something generous. When I was shopping all the time in a mall, there was always a man standing somewhere selling papers or something. And so occasionally I would just give him something for it. And he would say, "Oh, God bless you, God bless you." And I had no idea how to answer him back until one day he said, "Oh, God bless you, God bless you." And I said, "Yes, and God bless you too." And I got this wide, uh, angelic expression of joy on his face. And I understood that he understood it was a genuine blessing, as I understood it from everybody else, even though it wasn't in my language. So everybody is our Sangha, I think, no matter who it is, whoever we connect with, even for a few minutes, that's our Sangha. And if you're wide open, you'll see amazing things happen with other people that you don't know. So I wanted to say God bless you all. What was the thing in Tiny Tim? God bless us, everyone.
Looks like we have another hand up from Mike.
I'll keep this brief, but I've said this before. My practice is tough when I'm sitting in my office looking at on a Zoom broadcast, but when I'm in the Zendo, whether there's one people or like we have today, it looks like we got a good number of people in there. Just feeling the other people in that room helps improve my practice. With them there, and whether they've been there only a couple months or been there for a few years or whatever, I always feel so much, my practice is much better when I'm in the Zendo. I didn't make it out today because there was a train crash on the tracks and they shut down all the trains. And so I had to stay home, and I feel a difference by being here by myself than I do when I'm in the Zendo. So as long what Chris was saying and everybody else, the feeling of being in the Sangha amongst all the members of the Sangha is of benefit. And it's great that there's so many people there today, and it really does help. I'm hoping helps everybody else's practice who is there to be amongst other people, whether you're new or old. And I'll get off my soapbox now.
It is all good. So, and I also wanted to say I really wish I could be there today. Um, I'm going to try and make it out next Saturday, but I won't be able to stay for the entire Zazenkai. Um, I have a couple presents from Tassajara. So, and then also just in general, I wanted to, I mean, I really want to be able to be there when I can, um, because what have I been talking about this whole time? The Sangha is the most precious of the three jewels. Come at me if you don't agree.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, and thank you all for your kind attention. Please take very good care of yourselves.
Yeah.